Welcome everyone. Today, we re-journeying back in time to one of the most transformative periods in human history, the Renaissance. This was an age of rebirth, spanning from the 14th to the 16th centuries, that pulled Europe out of what many at the time called the Dark Ages and into the light of modernity. It all started in Italy, where a profound shift was taking place. Thinkers, artists, and scholars began looking back, not to the immediate past, but to the glory of ancient Greece and Rome. They wanted to revive the classical world's art, literature, and philosophy. This intellectual movement was called humanism. At its core, humanism wasn't about rejecting religion, but about elevating humanity. It celebrated human potential, our capacity for greatness, and our place in the world. It was a revolutionary idea that would change everything from art and science to politics and religion. So, why Italy? What made it the perfect crucible for this cultural explosion? It was a perfect storm of social and economic change. Italian city-states like Florence, Venice, and Milan were booming. Thanks to their strategic location, they became the epicenters of trade between Europe and the East. This incredible wealth created a new, powerful merchant class. These weren't nobles who inherited their power from land. These were self-made men who earned their fortunes through business and banking. This new urban elite began to challenge the old feudal order, creating a more dynamic, merit-based society. The political landscape of Italy, a patchwork of competing city-states, added fuel to the fire. Each city wanted to outdo the others, not just in wealth, but in prestige and culture. This rivalry created an incredible demand for art and innovation. And no one represents this new power better than the Medici family of Florence. The Medici were bankers, but they were so much more. Their bank was one of the most respected in Europe, and they used their immense wealth to become the ultimate patrons of the arts. They supported geniuses like Donatello, Brunelleschi, Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and Michelangelo, effectively turning Florence into the beating heart of the Renaissance. Their influence didn't stop there. Two members of the family even became popes, Leo X and Clement VII. They brought Renaissance ideals to Rome, commissioning massive projects like the new St. Peter's Basilica. Without the money and vision of patrons like the Medici, the Renaissance as we know, it simply wouldn't have happened. They weren't just funding art. They were investing in a new vision of humanity. At the intellectual heart of the Renaissance was humanism, which championed a new kind of education called the Studia Humanitatis. This curriculum focused on 5 subjects: grammar, rhetoric, history, poetry, and moral philosophy. The goal was to create well-rounded citizens who could think critically, speak eloquently, and contribute to public life. A key principle for humanist scholars was ad fontes, which is Latin for to the pure sources. They believed that centuries of medieval commentary had corrupted ancient texts. So they went back to the original Greek and Roman manuscripts, studying them with fresh eyes. This even applied to religion, as scholars sought to read the Gospels directly, bypassing medieval interpretations. This new way of thinking sparked a monumental shift in focus. Instead of concentrating solely on the afterlife, humanists celebrated life on Earth. They championed the idea of individual freedom, personal dignity, and the unique worth of every single person. This led to the ideal of the homo universale, or the universal man, a multi-talented individual who excelled in many fields. The ultimate example, of course, is Leonardo da Vinci, a master painter, scientist, inventor, and musician. But the ideas came from thinkers like Francesco Petrarch, often called the father of humanism. He was the one who famously dubbed the preceding centuries the Dark Ages and passionately called for a revival of classical learning. Another key figure was Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. In his oration on the dignity of man, he argued that humans are special because we have free will. Unlike angels or animals, we can shape our own destiny. This was a radical and empowering idea that placed humanity at the center of its own universe. This new humanist worldview completely revolutionized art. Renaissance artists broke away from the flat, symbolic style of the Middle Ages. They wanted to create art that was realistic, emotionally powerful, and celebrated the beauty of the human form. The single biggest breakthrough came from the architect Filippo Brunelleschi, who rediscovered the mathematical principles of linear perspective. This technique allowed artists to create a convincing illusion of three-dimensional space on a flat surface. All parallel lines in a painting appear to converge at a single vanishing point, creating a sense of depth and realism. The painter Masaccio was one of the first to master this, and his fresco, the Holy Trinity, is a stunning example. This wasn't just a technical trick. It was a philosophical statement. The single vanishing point put the individual viewer at the rational center of the world. The period from about 1490 to 1527, known as the High Renaissance, was the absolute peak. This is when we see the great masters Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael create their most iconic works. Leonardo da Vinci developed a technique called sfumato, which means smoky. He blended colors and tones so seamlessly that there were no harsh lines, giving his paintings like the Mona Lisa an incredible sense of life and mystery. In his Last Supper, he used linear perspective to create a powerful dramatic focus on Christ. Michelangelo, a sculptor at heart, brought an unparalleled understanding of human anatomy to his work. His magnificent statue of David and the breathtaking ceiling of the Sistine Chapel are testaments to the power and beauty of the human body. And then there was Raphael, the master of harmony and grace. His fresco, The School of Athens, is the perfect embodiment of the Renaissance ideal, bringing together the greatest thinkers of antiquity in a single, perfectly balanced composition. The Renaissance wasn't just about art and philosophy. It was also an age of incredible technological and scientific advancement. The most important invention was the printing press, developed by Johannes Gutenberg around 1440. Before the printing press, books were copied by hand, making them rare and incredibly expensive. Gutenberg's invention allowed for the mass production of texts. Suddenly, knowledge was accessible. Books became cheaper, literacy rates soared, and humanist ideas spread like wildfire across Europe. In science, the humanist emphasis on direct observation and critical thinking led to major breakthroughs. Nicolaus Copernicus proposed a radical new model of the universe. He argued that the Earth was not the center, but that the planets, including our own, revolved around the sun. This heliocentric theory shattered 1,000 years of belief and laid the foundation for modern astronomy. Meanwhile, the physician Andreas Vesalius transformed our understanding of the human body. He insisted on performing human dissections himself, challenging the authority of ancient texts. His groundbreaking book, On the Fabric of the Human Body, was filled with incredibly detailed and accurate anatomical drawings, correcting centuries of errors and ushering in the era of modern medicine. In the realm of politics, Niccolò Machiavelli applied this same critical, realistic approach to the study of power. His famous book, The Prince, is a practical guide for rulers. Instead of talking about how a prince asterisk should asterisk rule based on moral ideals, Machiavelli analyzed what successful rulers asterisk actually do asterisk to gain and maintain power. He argued that a ruler needed vert cog, a combination of strength, cunning, and adaptability. And he famously concluded that while it's best to be both loved and feared, if you have to choose one, it is much safer to be feared. As these Renaissance ideas spread north, they mingled with religious concerns, creating what we call Christian humanism. Scholars like Erasmus used humanist methods to study the original texts of the Bible, seeking to reform the church from within. This critical spirit, amplified by the power of the printing press, helped set the stage for the next great upheaval in European history, the Protestant Reformation. So to wrap it all up, The Renaissance was a complex and dynamic era born from the interplay of economic prosperity, political competition, intellectual curiosity, and technological innovation. It fundamentally shifted how people saw themselves, their world, and their place in the cosmos. It gave us the concept of the individual as the master of their own fate, the artist as a celebrated genius, and the belief that through reason and inquiry, we can unlock the secrets of the universe. These are ideas that have shaped the last 500 years of history and continue to define our modern world. The legacy of the Renaissance is all around us, a lasting testament to the power of human creativity and the endless quest for knowledge. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history. See you next time.